Hi everyone, Lindsay here. I wanted to share with you my 5 top steps to becoming free of the fear of failure. I know this is a really challenging topic that is just something that, you know, affects absolutely everyone. And so taking some really intentional steps to becoming free of that fear that can really hold us back is an amazing thing to do. So here are my top 5. The first is know that feelings aren't facts. So feelings are just that. They are not a source of truth for us. They tell us how we are reacting to certain stimuli in the situation, but they do not represent truth. I can feel something that isn't true, right? I can feel maybe disrespected by somebody, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they meant any disrespect by it, right? Life can feel overwhelming, but it's not in truth, right? And so know that your feelings are there for a reason. They're valid, but they're not facts. Okay, so fear is not a fact, right? And then secondly, know that your feelings aren't options either. That means that just because I feel a certain way doesn't mean I get to act on that. So for instance, I may feel super tired when I get up in the morning, which means that I just want to keep hitting snooze and just keep hitting it. And then what if I'm late to work, right? Or just because I don't feel like driving doesn't mean I get to skip my commute and not go to work and miss my job, right? So sure, it's a feeling. I might feel like doing something. I might feel fear, but it doesn't need to translate into an option for me to act upon. And then third, I would say one of the best tips and tricks I have come across is to treat fear as a passenger on your journey. So it can sit beside you in your car as you're driving, but it doesn't get to take the steering wheel from you. It doesn't get to change the temperature. It doesn't get to change the volume of whatever you're listening to. It doesn't get to even change the soundtrack of what you're listening to, right? So it can come alongside. Sometimes there are valid reasons for fear, right? It gets to point out some things that you might really need to take a second look at. But it doesn't ultimately get control over how you choose to act, right? How you choose to drive the car. And then the other thing, number 4, is recognize, release, and replace. And by that I mean acknowledge it. When it comes up, acknowledge it. It's a valid feeling. It's real in the moment. However, take a deep breath, recognize that it's there, deep calming breath, and release it. And then replace it with something. It's really hard sometimes to just be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to stop feeling fear. I've had periods of my life where I felt such intense fear that I couldn't just say to myself to stop. It just wasn't enough. But learning to replace those thoughts with other thoughts is really important. Replacing them with something positive, like a mantra. I really like Gabby Bernstein's I choose love instead, or of course the biblical saying, perfect love casts out fear. Something that you can hold on to. You are choosing something different with Gabby's whole thing, or you're just acknowledging that love is more powerful than fear with the biblical thing. So whatever way you choose is going to be just what feels right to you, but I would come up with a phrase or something that you can use to replace that negative thoughts that are coming in because of fear. And then finally, when you're frozen by fear, reframe it as a tool. Use it as something else to sort of check along with you in the journey. It's going to come up, and sometimes you're going to just feel absolutely frozen by it, but you don't need to stay frozen by it. Use it as, a tool. It's helpful to get your physiologically, it's helpful to get you going, right? It's helpful to speed up your reaction time and things like that. So use it as something that's on your side rather than something that's fighting against you. Yeah, and so, you can think of it as part of your checklist. Do you have your laptop and keys? Check. Do you have your, boss attire on? Check. Do you have your psychological tools with you on your journey to become a better, bolder, braver you? And check, right? So even if you feel that fear, know that it means you care. You care about the outcome, you care about how you might be perceived. That's okay. But just don't let it hold you back, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. And you know what? In the end, becoming free of the fear of failure is just one of the most wonderfully exhilarating things that you can do for yourself. Because all of a sudden you're able to actually go after the things that you want to do and just explore, learn from your mistakes, learn from things that come up that you didn't anticipate. And there you go. And that's good enough. In fact, that's perfect. Yeah. So if you have any hints or tips and tricks as well, please feel free to share them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you too. But until next time, be well, friends.